Hello everyone, I welcome you all for yet another video of Prelims Guidance Program. In this session, we discuss about PYQs with respect to ancient India, and we'll go theme wise as well as but in a chronological order as I have told you before, right? So first we'll understand the theme number 1 or the chapter number 1 in your textbook, that is sources of ancient history, right? In this, whatever the question that has been asked, either I can put it under different chapters also, because the source has been spread across the different dynasties, or you can at large from the theme wise you can consider under this chapter as well. So let's begin and see how the question are being asked and what are the themes they are being discussed, and we have to see how we are supposed to prepare. Let's move on. First, PYQs. With reference to Indian history, Alexander Ree, A.H. Longhurst, Robert Sewell, James Burgess, and Walter Elliott were associated with. Now, archaeological excavation, establishment of English press in colonial India, establishment of churches in princely states, and construction of railways in colonial India. Now, they are actually known for archaeological excavation, and within which many of the names they are not known to a great extent, but two names are very important that you should have been known and you can derive the answer from it. Among them, the first is James Burgess. He is known for excavation of Ajanta and Ellora caves. And the next one, very important, the Robert Sewell is a historian, right, who has written a book called Forgotten Empire. So this book is related to the Vijayanagara kingdom. So in that way, if you look at these two, if you are aware of these two, then answer you will be in a position to attend, that is archaeological excavation. Next, with reference to history of ancient India, Bhavabhuti, Hastimalla, Kshemeshwara were famous for, right? Jain monks, playwrights, temple architect, philosophers. Again, you can say that they were the well-known playwrights. Again, if you look at the three names, Hastamalla or Kshemeshwara were not that, important name when we are studying the ancient India through our books, but you would have come across Bhavabhuti. Bhavabhuti is known for writing Uttar Ramacharita, right? It is a more of a Jain Ramayan that has been written, right? So, in that way, you'll be knowing that this is a playwright. Next, consider the following pairs, the site and what they were well known for. 1. Besnagar, Shaivite cave shrine. Baja, Buddhist cave shrine. Sittanavasal, Jain cave shrine. Right, now if you look at it, Besnagar, or it is also called Vidisha, which is known for Helidorus pillar inscription, where you can have the Vaishnavite, the tradition, right? So that means that he has converted to Vaishnavism. In that it has been mentioned in the Besnagar or the Vidisha pillar inscription or Helidorus pillar inscription. So this is not Shaivite, but it is Vaishnavite cave shrine. So this goes wrong. Now Baja, the Buddhist cave shrine, is correct, and also Sittanavasal, which is in Tamil Nadu, known for Jain cave shrines, it is also correct. So option will be how many pairs are correct? Only 2 pairs are correct. Next, who of the following had first deciphered the edicts of Emperor Ashoka? Right. So now George Buller, James Prinsep, Max Muller, William Jones. Right. Now the answer is James Prinsep. Right. So he is known for deciphering both Brahmi as well as Kharoshthi script, so that we could understand what has been written in the inscription. Right. So the James Prinsep is the answer for this question. And then with reference to the ancient history, consider the following. They have given literary work, Devi Chandragupta, and it has author has been given as Billana. Hammira Mahakavya, it is Nayachandra Suri, Milandapana, Nagarjuna, Nittakavya Mitra, and Somadeva Suri. Now if you look at it, the Devi Chandragupta was written by not Billana, but instead it was written by Vishakadatta. And Vishakadatta, as you know, is famous for its one of the other work that is basically Mudra Rakshasa, right? So where he has spoken about overthrow of Nanda dynasty or the Nanda king by Chandragupta Maurya or the establishment of Chandragupta Maurya, that can be seen in this play, that is Mudra Rakshasa, right? However, Billana is known for writing Vikramanka Deva Charita. Kadeva Charita. So it has been about a Chalukya king, Vikramaditya VI, right? So it has been written by Billana. So the first option goes incorrect. Hammira Mahakavya, Nayachandra Suri, yes, it is correct. Milindapana, Nagarjuna. Milindapana is a conversation or a discussion between the king Meander and the Buddhist monk Nagasena, right? So where he has finally converted into Buddhism after having that conversation with the Buddhist monk. So this is not Nagarjuna, it should have been Nagasena in that instant. Nagarjuna is actually the founder of Madhyamika Buddhist school, which is a sect of Mahayana Buddhism, right? So this goes again incorrect. And Nityavakya Mitra, yes, this is Somadeva Suri, a Jain monk. Yes, this is correct, right? So here the second and fourth are correct, and option will be only 2. Right now, even if you look at this kind of question, it's about most important work are being changed. They are not even checking basically the the Hammira Mahakavya, which is not that when you are studying in your books, this book could not have been mentioned for a large extent, or the Niti Kavya Mitra, or that also Niti Vakya Mitra also not has been mentioned to a great extent. However, you can have that Milindapana as well as Devi Chandragupta, because the Vishakadatta is a famous poet under Chandragupta, right? So that means that even if you know this, basically you will be in a position to attend them. So always they check with those things which student has to know. There they will change and try to understand your conceptual clarity. Now, which of the following archaeologists first visited Bhimbetka caves and discovered prehistoric significance of its rock paintings? Now, this has been given by Madhuswarup Vatsa, H.D. Sankalia, Wakankar, V.N. Mishra, and the answer is V.S. Wakankar, right? These has been clearly, both of these questions has been clearly mentioned in your basic NCERT books also, right? Even if you have studied your introduction to fine arts, there also it has been clearly mentioned. Next, which of the following work is attributed to playwright Basa? Right now, if you look at the option Kavyalankara, then Natya Shastra, Madhyama Yoga, and Mahabhashya. Now, the option that has been given, at least Kavyalankara has been written by Bamaha, right? Natya Shastra has been written by Bharata Muni. Madhyama Yoga has been written by Bhasha, right? So the answer would be C. Mahabhashya again written by Patanjali, right? So answer would be this. Now if you look at the option, they have also asked about Kavya Alankara, Natya Shastra, that is the guide for how a dance should be, how music should be. So that is basically a guiding document, right? So in that context, you should be in a position to attend. Nowadays they are asking this, so you should go a little bit deep with this kind of things also. That is Bharata Muni's Rasa Shastra you should know, or let's say or Natya Shastra, where he speaks about the concept of Rasa Siddhanta. Then Ananda Vardhana you should be knowing, where he is speaking about let's say Dwani Siddhant. Then Dandi you are supposed to know. All these important who have created or created a roadmap how the poetry should be, that also should be having the basic understanding, right? Then Fahin, Chinese pilgrim, traveled to India during the reign of Samudragupta, Chandragupta II, Kumaragupta I, Skandagupta, and then the answer is Chandragupta II, right? Then the Chinese traveler Yuan Chong, this question basically you can see that who visited or Huan Song, it is recorded the general condition and culture of India at that point of time. In this context, which of the following statements are correct? Now the roads and river roads were completely immune from robbery, is something he has told. He himself has been robbed, so this becomes incorrect. As regards to punishment for the offences, ordeals by fire, water and poison were the instrument for determining the innocence or guilt of a person. This he has spoken. The tradesmen had to pay duties at the ferries and the barrier station. This is again correct. So answer should be 2 and 3. Right. So now if you look at this, what we can clearly see, right? So the sources of Indian history has been dealt in, or studied in majorly in 3 ways. One, the archaeological evidences, right? Evidences. Next, literary sources. Now, finally, it is from the foreign travelers. 3 things you can see. Now, under the archaeological evidences, it can be famous inscriptions, it can be buildings and monuments, or it can be coins or numismatics, or it can be pottery, right? Now inscription, again, whenever you are studying this, study them, what is the historical significance that they are having. Along with that, try to study them from the chronological order, so that you can remember what has been spoken about Maurya Empire. The inscription itself has been deciphered from the Maurya time, so you can see that the Sogora copper plate inscription which talks about Mauryas. Then you can talk about specifically about Ashoka's edicts as well as inscription. Here you will have a pillar inscription, Rumendevi pillar inscription, Kandahar pillar inscription. Here they have been spoken about it. Right. Now whenever you are studying the inscription, also know that which language they have been written or which script they have been used to write that. So that is one thing, that extra information, and what information that it will give. Right. So now, for example, in the Rumendevi in pillar inscription, they have spoken about giving a a tax free for basically Lumbini part, right? So because that is the birthplace of the Buddha, to respect him, that has been given, right? In edicts there are 14 major edicts, within which some major edict are talking about Kalinga war. Let's say major edict 13 talks about Kalinga war, some major edict talk about Dhamma. Like that you are supposed to understand which edict talking about. Now if I want to, somebody is asking, sir, should I read all the 14 major edicts or content of it, should I know at least at the basic level? I say yes, because Ashoka is a repeated theme. Whenever you are feeling that they have been historically very important, they can go one step ahead. They might not just ask you this pillar is located where. They may ask you in which pillar the Kalinga war has been given. Then they gave, now with the way of their asking, that is in the match the following, they can give 4 major edicts and the content of it, how many pairs of following are matched, in that way. So that you are supposed to study. Then after post Maurya, you can have with respect to Saka dynasty, or you can have basically with respect to Hathigumpa inscription, which talks about King Kharavela of Kalinga, or it can be Junagar inscription of Skanda, or let's say Rudradaman. There are 2 Junagar inscription. One is from Skanda Gupta and another is from Rudradaman. For us, it is Rudradaman, where he has talked about renovation of the Sudarshan lake, which has been constructed during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya. So that means that that also you will come to know. Then you can have various inscriptions, right? So some also talk about the social life. Some also talk about the the social practices. For example, Iran, right? Inscription. This talks about sati system. Some inscription also talks about political system. For example, Uttarameruru inscription of Chola has spoken in detail about the village panchayat, right? That is the decentralization with respect to Ur and Sabha under the Cholas. So that has been discussed. Then Nasik subscription has also given detail about Satavahanas, where the name of the king has been derived from their mother. So that information is there. Now Helidorus inscription, it talks about, it is there in Vidisha, it has been spoken about this. right? So that is, the Helidorus has converted to Vaishnavism. That has been spoken about. So you will also understand the Indo-Greek relation there. There are the Indo-Greek, kings which has been come there and their role, how they were playing, or assimilation of their culture. Or if you want to go to a Gupta period, then they will again, you will have a inscription with respect to, Samudragupta, that is Allahabad pillar inscription. Whenever these kind of Prashasti come, it also have the detail who has been written that, like Harisena has been written, it is there in the Sanskrit. It talks about victories of the Samudragupta, that should be known. Similarly, similar kind of inscription during the time of, Chalukyas. You know that basically the Aihole inscriptions, right, where it has been spoken or written by Ravi Kirti again in Sanskrit, it has been spoken about the Pulikeshi II, its victory over the Harshavardhana. So this kind of information you are supposed to know. Then basically you can also talk about, the Mandasur inflation, inscription, which basically also talk about guild system, right, or the Huns invasion. These kind of extra information that you are going to get, you will be in a position to know about it, right? So like that you cover from there what is the script used, what is the major content that has been used, or sometimes technology wise also, that point of time, let's say Mehroli pillar inscription talks about Chandragupta, so which can show what are the iron technology that we are having. Like that it should have some significance, then know about that inscription. So that is with respect to inscription. Now with respect to building and monument, again knowing about stupas, right, knowing about Vihara, Chaitya, these kind of, are the major temples. Or you can have, let's say you may also ask about sculptures, where you have a different styles of Gandhara, Mathura, right, Amaravati art. So this also can be studied, right? With respect to coins, again study from the, why they are important, what is the unique part of it. Let's say who started the punch marked coins, because they are not just significant of, the economy, but it is also significant that many information has been revealed. Maybe for example Chandragupta coins, right, they have a photo of queen, the Lichavi queen and the Chandragupta. So this way there, the marriage or the matrimonial allowance has been seen. Then, the gold coins has been issued by Gupta, indicating that how rich they were at that point of time, or the how, it was a period, right? During the Kanishka, you can see the gold coins in the Silk Route, which shows that he is having a trade in the Silk Routes, right? So, the Indo-Greeks or the first kingdom or the first kings who started, minting the king's portrait in the coin, right? So that can be seen. Or, in the Satavahanas, where they were using lead coins, right? So they can use, you can see the pictures of the ships, which shows that they were having a maritime trade also. The same thing you can say in the Roman coins, where it has been, the ships has been shown, which has been available in Arikamedu, right? Like that you will have Samudragupta playing Veena, which shows that, Samudragupta is not only a great warrior politically, but he also has given, significance or, the importance to the culture at that point of time. Like that it will give you a different picture. So as long as one, you should know about the coins with respect to what type of coin they were using, what is the major material that were using, or the term if there are, let's say, the Gupta coin, gold and silver coin known in the name of, let's say, dinars. So that is basically the terminology. Sometimes they will ask this term is related to what, Phanam is related to what. These kind of things you are supposed to know. So in that way you have to understand the different type of coin. Then similarly pottery also indicates the way of technology at that point of time. Now this also you try to study chronologically in the history wise, right? For example in Neolithic, right, Neolithic, you are having black and red ware, right? In, let's say, right, Iron Age, you are having painted grey ware, right? Similarly during Harappan time, perforated pottery, right? Or during, let's say, Mauryas, northern black polished ware. Like this, basically you should be knowing the, or Chalcolithic, right, ochre colored pottery. Like that, you study them from the perspective of chronology, so that you can always link, what was there at that point of time. In this way you can understand, the pottery. Along with that, you can go with the literary sources. Literary sources may, again, there is a religious sources as well as secular sources. Secular sources of, again, they can be plays which has been having the story related to the kingdom. For example, as I told you earlier, the Mudra Rakshasa written by Vishakadatta also talks about the establishment of Maurya kingdom by overthrowing the Nalanda. Right. So in that way that can be understood. Or let's say if you are talking about Kalidasa's Malvikargnimitra, then you will be knowing about the Shunga dynasty, Shunga king. So in that way, basically you can, it will help to construct the history also. Then also have the broader literatures, right? The, literature related to Vedas, right? Literature related to, Buddhist literature, right? Jainas, Agama literature. So like that, you should just have the broader understanding. However, in the literature, right now only three things has to be known. What is the main theme of it, right? Only in one liner. Then who is the author, the book name. That's it. Only three things. You again don't go in detail unless it belongs to a famous king. Let's say if I am talking about Kalidasa, then you should be knowing little bit deeper. The story of it also you should be knowing. It is better because as they go little, deeper, then you will be in a position to attend them, right? And then another will be bibliographies of the kings, right? So where they were talking about, let's say, Harsha's, let's say, Bana Bhattas, Harsha Charita that you can take, for example, or Ashwagosha's Buddha Charita you can take, right? Or basically you can have, who else? So, the major kings that you can supposed to take, right? So, who have been written about them, about the king, so you will be in a position to get the information because of that, right? Next, we will understand foreign travelers. Now, this you can study from two perspectives, one either chronologically or from which country or the region these kings are, these travelers has come. From that way, two ways you can study, right? So, now whenever you are studying, try to have a broader names that is important to know with respect to the contribution. Minute names are not really needed. For example, many of the foreign traveler would have come up with Alexander. Just know their name, that would be more than sufficient, nothing more than about it, right? But however, when you are having some court, somebody has to, some king's poet and he has been stayed for a very long time, then you should be knowing little in detail about them, right? So for example, you should know Dimachus I, that you should be knowing about, or let's say that is about, the Greek traveler, right? That you should know. Then with respect to Chandragupta Maurya, again, if I will go through a chronological order, we have Megasthenes from Greek. He has written in detail in his work called Indica, right? Next, basically, Chandragupta Maurya. I will make it very clear so that you should not get confused, right? So then, basically, during Gupta's period, we are having Fahin, right? He has come during Chandragupta II, right? Then also we have Ising, right? We have, from the Chinese, then in Harshavardhana time, you are having Huan Sang, right? Who has written book called Suyuki, right? So they have detailedly given about the, so these things that, you should be knowing, right? Then, you may have Suleiman Al-Biruni in your, the medieval India that you can study, but keeping the discussion up to here, you can, in the ancient India, you have to study them, right? Now, whenever you are studying them, now the way they are asking question, for example, Maurya is one of the important theme and they are asking more number of questions, and the Kautilya's Arthashastra, one of the major question that has been repeatedly asked. Now, if they want to go one step further, if they want to make it little more difficult, then they can add the comparison between the Kautilya's Arthashastra, what has been seen, and the similar, which is very different, that has been seen in the Megasthenes Indica, because both were in the same time. So basically, the comparison between Megasthenes Indica as well as Kautilya's Arthashastra can be a next level of question that you can prepare earlier itself. Along with that, whenever the contemporary, that Huan Song is there. Now, Huan Song, has spoken about robbery and other thing, but you cannot be seen the same in Bana Bhatta's Harsha Charita, right? Because he has been a court poet, he would not have written same thing. Similarly, Megasthenes has not spoken about slaves, right? He has spoken about different classes, but not about, slaves. But Kautilya has in detail how somebody will become slave, what is the punishment, what is, all in detail he has been covered it. So in that way, basically, you have to understand the comparative also. If there are two contemporary has been in detail, they have given the information, then you can use that also. In that way, you try to cover the foreign travelers, right? So that's it with your source of Indian history. Now, we will move to the next chapter, that is the prehistoric culture. Now let's move to the next chapter, prehistorical culture. Now let's look at it. One, consider the following pairs. First we'll see the PYQs, right? So consider the following pairs. The Burza home, well known for rock cut shrines. Chandraketugar, well known for terracotta art. Ganeshwar, it is well known for copper artifact. And which of the following pairs are correctly met? Now if you know Burza home, it is a Neolithic site located in Kashmir, known for pit dwelling. Right, so as you know, there is a too much of cold, right, and to stay away from the cold and to have that settlement, as the ice act as a bad conductor of heat, they used to dwell a pit, and within that pit they used to stay. So that is kind of igloo kind of concept, right? So in that way, it is not known for rock cut shrines. Even if you know that Burza home is in the Kashmir, this will not become a part of rock cut architecture, right? So that means that automatically this goes wrong. Now Chandraketugar, located in West Bengal, it is a river in port, and it is well known for terracotta art. So, and it is a major trading, port also. So, this is correct. Ganeshwar, again located in Rajasthan, known for copper mining, and it used to, supply the copper during the Indus Valley civilization as well. So, this is also correct. So, answer will be 2 and 3. Now, this is one question that has been asked in UPSC, and this is the another question. Again, if you look at here, what is the archaeological state, what is the description, and what is the state associated with. Again, you can see the Chandraketugar, state Odisha, description, trading port down. Now, you know that this is basically not Orissa, but it should be West Bengal. So, this is correct, but this part is incorrect. Inamgaon, one of the major Chalcolithic site found in Maharashtra. Yes, it is correct. Then Mangadu, it is located in Kerala, known as a megalithic site. Yes, correct. Then Salihundam is located in Andhra Pradesh, but it is known for a Buddhist site where you can have, stupa or, viharas, chaityas. That can be seen, but it is not known for rock cut cave shrine. So this part is wrong. This is so correct. So that means that 2 and 3 are correctly met. Now if you look at CDS and CAP of question, what has been asked, right? Now with reference to Neolithic period, what is not correct? The characteristic feature of this period included ground and polished stone tools, agriculture, animal domestication, and pottery. Yes. This period is also known as New Stone Age. Yes, Neo means new, Lithic means stone, so New Stone Age, which is absolutely correct. The characteristic features appeared almost at the same time in various parts of the subcontinent. Now, with your common sense only, this you can say that this is not correct, because features has been appeared in a different parts at the different period of time. So it is not a unilinear fashion it has happened, right? So this goes wrong. The earliest evidence of agriculture is found at the Mehergarh. Right now this is located in Pakistan, right? So around 8000 BC, this is correct. So the incorrect statement is this, right? So these two are correct, this is incorrect, the question is not correct, so option C. Next, consider the following statements about Stone Age in India. Different periods are identified on the basis of type and technology of stone tools. Yes, you know that, the Mesolithic, Neolithic, and the type of the stone that we are using, microliths, so that means it is correct. That is how it has been identified. There are no regional variation in type and technology of tool in different period. Absolutely, with your common sense only you can say that it is incorrect. There will be regional variation because the type of the material available is different. So obviously the technology will be used will also be different in different periods. Now, Stone Age culture of different period evolved uniformly in a neat unilinear fashion all over the subcontinent. Again, it becomes incorrect, right? So answer will be one only, and these two can be eliminated using your common sense. Now, another one, consider the following statement about Levallois technique, right? This is something that you cannot find it in your NCERT or the basic book, right? So, the Levallois technique is related to stone making. It is like, you make a mold first and then, create a, item. In similar way, it will basically whatever the weapon that you want to make or tool you want to make, first you will create the mold and that is core of the tool, and then accordingly you will do. So that is it is refers to a prehistoric flake tools. Now why this name is kept? This is a place located in France. So where these kind of tool has been first initially they have been found there in the 19th century. After that the any kind of that tool found across the world basically has been kept or called under this technique itself. So that is this is correct. This is not to do with perforated herba pottery, but it is right. So now that means that answer should be 2 only. Right. These are the question that has been asked under prehistoric this thing. Now if you're looking at the question, what do you find? What do you think that how I am supposed to prepare? Because in the book, what will happen when you start studying a little go with let's say R.S. Sharma or what they have done, they have gone in detail, right? Even the smallest things, somewhere the cereal has been found at certain part the burial has been the burial is in the north south direction, east west direction, these kind of minute information, right? So you'll start even the Paleolithic period has been divided into upper Paleolithic, middle Paleolithic and lower Paleolithic. Like this, basically they are basically divided within that Paleolithic also. That much of detailing is absolutely not required from your prelims perspective, because you get 4-5 questions within the total ancient India, and when you have the prehistoric, they always ask at a broader level. So what should be studied, right? So one, you should be studying the chronology, that is Paleolithic, right? Second, Mesolithic. Third, Neolithic. Then in parallel to Neolithic, you can also have Chalcolithic. And in the southern part, then during the Iron Age, in the northern part, in the southern part, you can have megaliths. These are the things that you are supposed to cover. Right. Now in this, two things are more important. One is defining features, right, as you have seen, right, Levallois technique has been seen in the middle Paleolithic era. So that means that that technique, and what are the tools they were to use, where important sites, right, it can be Bhimbedka, it can be Angsi Valley, it can be Didwana, right, like that, Nevasa, all these important sites related to the Paleolithic period has to be seen. Or if there is where first time, sometimes they have also asked the question in various examination, let's say when first time human has been found in the Paleolithic, or where it has been found, right, in the Narmada Valley, where you have Hathnor, where you have seen the Narmada man. It is also famous in Mandra. It is not Homo sapiens but Homo erectus, right? So that species are the bones that you can see over there, right? Or the largest tools has been seen in Attirampakam in Tamil Nadu. So this is another important site. Like this, you should just know the important site and what has been, and the defining features, most important. Like they have just started settling it down, the larger and bolder tools, like that is a major part. Similarly, Mesolithic, again defining features, like one of them is microliths. Then the cave painting has started, which can be seen in Bhimbedka caves, right? Now important sites again, like Bhimbedka, right, Adamgar, then maybe Bagor, right? Like this, basically you should have the important sites of the Mesolithic. And what are the defining features apart from microliths? Then the domestication of animal has started, right? So still they were in a nomadic position, but when they come to Neolithic, there is a sedentary or settled agriculture has started, right? So more of a pottery has come into picture, right? So these kind of then domestication of animal and has been become further more because of the settlement of the agriculture. So again important sites, for example Mehergarh, already they have asked in a question, right, where you can see that the early the evidence of the agriculture can be seen. Then you can have Burza home or Gufkral, they are in Kashmir, known for pit dwelling, right? Then you can have, then Neolithic has almost spread across the India, right? So you have to also see the geographical extension where it has been found, right? So, it has been seen in the northeastern India also, right? As well as, in the Gangetic plain, right? Chirand, you can find it there. Like that, basically, you have to divide them. And you see the map, important places that has been given as I have shown you in the earlier map, that much has to be studied. So, in that way, you are supposed to cover them. Or, in southern India also you can find that, right? Piklihal, Hallur, you can find them, the ash mounds in the Neolithic period that can be seen, that you can go through. Same goes with the Chalcolithic, right? Chalcolithic with respect to, and here pottery also can be seen, ochre colored pottery. The use of copper has come into the picture along with the stone tools. Important site has to be seen. For example, now copper means it is mostly related to the western part of India, right? That is, and there are many the mild culture within that copper culture, Jorwe culture, Arhar culture, Kayata culture, like that there are many cultures. So that, you just know which culture located in which place. That's it. Not again sub features of, that culture is absolutely not required. All of them has been covered in detail in book, but that is not absolutely required. Just to know what is the main Jorwe culture has been found, which site. That's it. Only, to basic information, because nowadays they are asking a question, right? They can give a site and whether it is a Jorwe, whether it is Kayata, like that. Just know the culture name and then site name. That's it basically. Again, you don't need to go very deep into it, right? The same is basically here also you should know the important site, like last time they have asked in Amgaon. They can ask Daimabad, right? So like that you should be knowing the important site related to Chalcolithic. Then megalithic, where the burial system has started with keeping the larger stone. Mega means large, and lithic means stone, right? The larger stone. This can be predominantly seen in the southern region, right? So you can have Adichanallur, right? So or let's say have Musky, right? All of these places are in Edakal caves, right? In Kerala, West Bengal, that you can also see the megalithic site. So again, knowing the important site, that would be more than sufficient. And along with them, important people associated, archaeological people who have been associated, as we have discussed in our previous one, right? Where sources of history I told, right? The H.D. Sankalia, right? Or let's say, James Prinsep, right? So sorry, not James Prinsep, Wakankar, known for Mesolithic or Bimbedka, or Sankalia is the early prehistoric site, or the father of prehistoric time, that has been called as Robert Bruce Foote. These people ka naam should be known in name, right? So that much should be more than sufficient. That is about your prehistoric time. So it should not take more than 1 hour to prepare. Keep it very simple, guys. So this is what it is required for prehistoric. So don't just run behind all the minute site and information about it. Only if there is something unique, plus the place name in the map, which culture, which place. That's it. Only have the broader understanding. 1 hour of preparation, not more than that, when you are reading for it. Now this is with the prehistoric time. So now let's begin with Indus Valley civilization. Let's first look at the PYQs. Which one of the following ancient town is well known for its elaborate system of water harvesting and management by building series of dams and channelizing water into connected reservoirs? Option is Dolavira, Kalibangan, Rakigari, and Roper. And you know that the answer is, it is Dolavira. This is directly also been available in the NCERT. The Dolavira is well known for the water harvesting and management system. Now Kalibangan is actually known for fire altars, right? Or you can have plowed field can be found here, right? Ragiri in Haryana, which is the largest Harappan site in India at present, right? And Ropar, it is located in Punjab, right? So the Dolavira will be your answer. Next, which of the following characterizes the people of Indus Valley civilization? They possessed great palaces and temples. They worshipped both male and female deities. They employed horse-drawn chariot in the warfare. Now, if you know that, they were not aware, or they were not aware of the horses, right? Where even where they have been, we have a, the remains of the horses can be found in some site. That is also still debatable whether it is really horse or not. So that means that, the horse-drawn chariot is something that you can eliminate. and great palaces and temples that you are again eliminate. The temple architecture itself has started during the early Gupta period, right? So that means that this goes wrong, right? So keeping that in mind, answer will be 2 only, right? And they were worshipped both male deity and female deity. You can see the Pashupati seal. You can have mother goddess sculpture, right? So in that way, basically, yes, both male and female deities can be seen. So the second 2 only will be your answers. Now, which throws among lights on the Harappan culture? Right. This is the question on CDS. Right. First, we'll finish UPSC question. Right. Which of the following is not a Harappan site? Right. They have given Chanadaru, which is a Harappan site. Right. It is a site known for having no citadel. Right. Then Kodiji, yes, it is. Now, these two are covered in most of the books, but Sogora and Desalpur has not covered in detail in any of them. But however, if you know that Sogora is known for his copper plate inscription with respect to Mauryan Empire, and it is located in UP, right? So this is not part of the Indus Valley. In that sense, this will be eliminated. So that means that answer will be not a Harappan site, becomes Sogora, or this will become your answer. So Desalpur will be one more site. Right. Again, the Indus Valley population had trade relation. Or the next question will be the famous female figurine known as dancing girl found at Mohenjo-daro is made of, right, the Charnelian clay, bronze, and gold, as it is famously known as bronze dancing girl, right, done through a lost wax technology, right. So this is clearly known, right? So this is the question that asked in 2025. Now, if you look at TDS and TAPF, there also the question is there. The Indus Valley population had trade relation with which of the following civilization? The Egypt, Greece, Ceylon, Mesopotamia, and it is clearly known that they had a relationship with Mesopotamia. In the seals that you can see there, it has been mentioned as Meluha for the people, right? So that is basically you can have the Indus seals also has been found in the Mesopotamia, and through the Lothal the dockyard, right? The trade was a external maritime trade was a possibility with Mesopotamia. So they had a trade relation with Mesopotamia, right? So now, which of the following throws a light upon Harappan culture? Now again, this is archaeological find. Of course, archaeological find will throw a light on everything, every culture. So you don't need to worry about it. That has to be correct. Now Harappan script. Now this is a pictorial script, and this is not known till now. It could not have been deciphered as of now. Recently also it was in news when the Tamil Nadu government has announced the cash prizes for if someone who can decipher the Harappan script, right? So that is also in the current affairs. It is in the news. So in keeping that in mind, this is not correct. The rock edicts was not even a feature of the Harappan civilization. So this also goes wrong. So answer should be archaeological finds. Right. Now, by looking at this basically, and one more question with respect to Vedic culture comparison, it has been asked. So that I will cover it in, the Vedic period, because that we have not discussed it. Right. So there we will cover that. So now by looking at the question, what we are supposed to prepare? One most and very important is site specific question. Right. You should know the important Harappan sites and why they are famous for. For example, Mohenjo-daro. Right. Very important sites. Also name their geographical location in the map. Go through their location in the map. Along with that, also see on which river it is there. Like that, have the broader understanding. Right. So next, and what can be found there? What is the defining feature there? For example, here the granary can be found. Great bath can be found. Bronze dancing girl can be found. Right. Bronze dancing girl can be found. Like that, similarly, it is located on the river, right? Indus River, right? Similarly, you can have Harappa located on River Ravi, who basically, excavated it. R.D. Banerjee excavated it. Harappa has been excavated by Dairam Saini. Like the basic information, what they were known for, which river they are having, what is the characteristic of it. Like that important Dholavira, water harvesting. Lothal, known for dockyard, right? Then Chanudaro, known for city without citadel. right? Kalibangan, this is located, right? So here you can have, the plowed field, and also you can have the fire altars, right? That can be seen here. Like that Raggiri, the largest site in India. Like that you have the important fact about all the important sites. Right, try to cover the extent or the geographical extent of Indus Valley civilization. What is the, Alamgirpur is the easternmost site. Similarly, southernmost site. Right, like that, you cover them from, the geographical extent and the important river like Gagra and Hakra or the Saraswati River civilization that can be seen. Right, so, that way you have to study about their geographical extent and the site specific, and those sites which are basically located in the, the ports, or which can act it as a major trade center, that you can have a special attention. So in that way you can have a better idea about the sites. So second, study about their features, right? So important features. Now here again, broader way, town planning, right? So whenever you are studying town planning, just understand that, the roads, perpendicular and parallel roads, drainage system, right? They were using, right? They were using burnt bricks, which is different from other contemporary civilizations, right? Then you can have a concept of citadel, that you can have lower town and upper town, that can be seen in most of the sites. Like that, basically understand the lower towns. Similarly, when you have to understand their socio-religious, that is, they were, having animistic, or let's say they were worshipping the animals also. Nature and animal worship can be seen. Male and female deity, both worship can be seen, right? Similarly, religion was more secular. That kind of, understanding has to be there. Along with that, have their art and culture kind of thing, right? So that means that you can talk about their script, right, which has been pictographic, right, and not been deciphered it, but it will also have a, an idea where from left to right, then right to left. That way they write. So that is another important feature of it, right? So similarly, you may have with related to, various things like, you can have seals, where Pashupati seal is very important. Pashupati seal. Right. Also see which animals are there with animal seals and what material it has been made. Steatite. Right. Similarly, you can go with the sculptures. Within sculpture, I can divide into again three parts. Right. For example, stone, made of stones, made of bronze. Right. Right. Or it can be terracotta, right? So you can have, bronze, the dancing girl is there, right? Stone, basically you have a bearded priest, right? Then you have terracotta of mother goddess, right? Here you can understand that there is a bronze may lost wax technology. Like that, have the broader understanding. Then finally, you should just know about other features, like why that the decline or time period of it. That's it. You should have the broader understanding. Again, minute all the site you don't need to remember. If there is something unique in its own nature, then you are supposed to remember. And Indian sites and those sites which has been helped in the trade, that becomes important. And also see what was the names that used to be called in the ancient time for river Ravi and what is the new name. That is because that names can be found in Vedic literature. So what is its modern name? So in that way that can be prepared. So have a mapping understanding about the seas. Don't mug up the site, but you open the map and see the sites. So in that way you cover Indus Valley civilization in detail. The Vedic period, right? Now first let's go to the questions. The Dharma and Rita depict a central idea of ancient Vedic civilization of India. In this context, consider the following statements. First, Dharma was a conception of obligations and discharge of one's duties to oneself and others. Correct? Rita was fundamental moral law, functioning of the universe and all it contain. Yes, it is a cosmic law which talks about everything with respect to how the suns, about suns and stars, how the seasons will change, however the overall world is being controlled. So that means that it is more about the god Varuna, right? So both are correct, both 1 and 2. Next, with reference to difference between culture of Rigvedic Aryans and Indus Valley people, consider the following. The Rigvedic Aryans used the coat of mail and helmet in the warfare, whereas the people of Indus Valley civilization did not leave any evidence of using them. Yes, they were not involved in warfare as of whatever that we have found. So this is correct. Rigvedic Aryans knew gold, silver and copper. Yes. Indus Valley population know only copper and iron. So this is incorrect, because as you know that Indus Valley people were knowing about copper, let's say lead, tin, and also they were knowing about gold because that was coming from Karnataka. Then copper, that is coming from Rajasthan. But what they were not aware was the iron. Iron has started coming more in the later Vedic period. So the second statement goes wrong. Right. So when we have discussed Indus Valley civilization also, you should also know that what they were not knowing apart from what they were knowing. For example, if I take agriculture, then the crops they were knowing, right? Barley, wheat, but the evidence of rice is very, very less, right? Cotton they were knowing, right? From the which they got the name of Sindon from the Greek people and so on, right? But they were not knowing, or there is no extensive, the proof that has been evidence that has been obtained on rice, right? So that is one thing. With respect to metals and minerals, what we can see is they were not aware, or they were not using the iron as such. With respect to animals, most of the animals is there, but however the horse, what they were not completely knowing. So these kind of exception in each of the things also should to be known to you, right? So now Rigvedic Aryans domesticated horse, correct? Whereas there is no evidence of Indus Valley civilization having been aware of this animal, right? This is correct. Now it does not mean that aware of this animal means whether they were not aware or aware. It is basically in the broader sense, even though we have got the remains of horse, that is still debatable whether it is horse or not. So in the at large, we do not see anything related to horse. So that they might not be having the there is no evidence that can prove that it was horse at all. So that means that this is correct. This is correct. Answer should be 1 and 3. Right, now these are the two questions, right? And now this is the third question. Consider the following statement. There are no parables in the Upanishad, which is wrong. You know that in the Katha Upanishad, there is a discussion or a conversation between Yama and Nachiketa, right? So that you can see. Then, Jabala Upanishad is there. So there are, many stories are there whenever they are connecting this kind of, right? So, and also Upanishads were composed earlier than Puranas. Yes, right. Puranas came during the, time of Gupta period, Vayu Purana, Vishnu Purana, right? Like that, Upanishads were during the, later Vedic period. So that means that, they were much earlier compared to Puranas. So second only will be your answer, right? Now, other question that we can see is from, examination other than civil services, that is CAPFN. So that is one, the religion of early Vedic Aryans were primarily of one, Bhakti. Bhakti came very late. Image worship was not there. Idol worship was not there. Yajnas were there, but image worship was not there. Worship of nature, yes, you can see many gods like Varuna, Surya, right, Vayu. So that means that worship of nature was there and yajnas were there. So that is the primary, the religion of this. So worship of nature was there, however bhakti came very late. So the answer would be worship of nature and yajnas, right? Now next, consider the following statement regarding Rigveda. It is collection of 1022 hymns divided into 10 mandalas or books. Correct. Rigveda has been included by UNESCO in the list of literature signifying world human heritage. This is also correct. Right. So, next, other that has been there are Tamil Nadu's Siddha medicine. Recently, they have added Ramayana, Panchatantra, right? Right. So, these things are and Rig Veda is there. So there are many things which has been part of this. So this is correct. This is correct. So answer will be both. And then who among the following god is most frequently invoked god in the Rig Veda? That is Indra. Right. So later it has been Indra was the major god. Most of the hymns has been dedicated to him in the Rig Veda, followed by Agni, right? So followed by Varuna, right? So that you can see in the Rig Veda. So Agni and Varuna is later and followed by Surya again, right? So these are you can see that the natural god, the god the nature has been worshipped as such, that you can see here. In the later Vedic period, it has been Prajapati, Vishnu and Rudra. They became prominent. But in the early Vedic period, it was the Indra was the supreme god. Right. Then Rakshasa type of marriage. Right. So there are different type of marriages are there. Right. So which has been spoken about Manusmriti. There are 8 types of marriages. Right. Within them 4 are something acceptable, some 4 are considered are non-acceptable, legally acceptable, but they were morally not acceptable. Right, one of them was Rakshasa type, where it is basically marriage by capture. Right, other basically Asura type, right, or Daiva, right, Brahmana or Brahma marriage, not Brahmana, Brahma marriage. Right. So like that, basically there are different types of marriages. So within that, the Rakshasa is something where you will abduct or capture, and then the groom will abduct and then he will marry the bride. So that is your next question. Right. So these are the different questions that has been appeared in various examination. Right. So now if you look at it, what exactly that has been asked, right, again is how to study Rig Veda, Vedic period. First divide them into early Vedic period and later Vedic period. Here you can find the Rig Veda and here you can find other part of Vedas, right? So that is Yajur Veda, right? Sama Veda, Atharva Veda, then Aranyakas, Upanishads, Vedangas, right? So these can be seen in the later Vedic period, right? So now within that, basically understand what is told in the Rig Veda, right? The early hymns related to God. Then Yajur Veda. Yajur Veda talks about the various sacrifices, how it has to be done, right? Sama Veda is having the melodies related to it, that has to be known. Then Atharva Veda, which is basically more of a magical type of black magic kind of things, right? So then basically you also study about Aranyakas, Upanishads. Within that, study important Upanishads. One of the question that has been asked is Satyameva Jayate has been found under which Upanishad? And you know that it is a Mundaka Upanishad. Like that, you have to study the different Upanishad, where it is Katha Upanishad, right? So Brihad Upanishad. So like that, important Upanishad which have different stories that you are supposed to know. Where the Jabala story, there are Jabala Upanishad is there. Like that, important stories or important concept that has to be discussed, has to be studied, right? So next, basically within that, also in the major Vedas you will have the Upavedas and some of the major concept like Ayurveda, right, has been mentioned under which of the following Veda. That has to be known. That is from the religious perspective. Now and then, which of the important gods in Rig Veda, right? As I told you, it is Indra, Agni, Varuna, right? So important gods, Surya, Prithvi, right? All this has to be studied. Similarly here, Prajapati or Brahma, right? It can be Vishnu, it can be Rudra. So this you have to study. Then basically, what are the various changes? Here it was sacrifice, everything was very less ritualistic, right? Here it is The sacrifice has become more. Ashwamedha, Rajasuya, all this has increased. Not only this, when you are studying, also study about what changed from later Vedic to early Vedic with respect to polity. Right? So the earlier it was more of a egalitarian society, or the caste system was not based on birth, but more of the Varna system was based on the job they were doing. Then the women could participate in Sabha and Samiti, right? So there were many Sabha, Samiti, Vidatal kind of the democratic institution were there, right? And Rajan was not that powerful, right? Now here basically this has been, and the small tribal we call it as Jana, that can be seen here. So now in the later period this has changed, this has become, the status of women has declined, the caste system became more rigid, right? And the king has become more powerful, right? So from Jana to it has turned to Janapada, a little larger one. Similarly, with respect to agriculture or economy, what has changed, right? So the cow was the main here, right? So similarly, as in the later Vedic period, with the introduction of iron, the forest clearing and more aggressive, agriculture has happened. Right, like that you have to divide them into not only from the perspective of religion, from the perspective of polity, how it has changed. Now once you understand this, how from later Vedic to Mahajanapadas, the Janapadas has become more organized and become the Mahajanapadas, right? That is the broader territorial conquest has been started. So like that you should be understanding it, right? How the decline has happened, and this decline in the quality of, the more rigid caste system, more violences in the name of basically the sacrifices, right? All of them has led to emergence of the heterodox sects like Ajivikas, right? Buddhism, Jainism as a replacement for the Brahminism or Hinduism. In that way you can consider. So you should also understand the flow of it and what has happened because of it, what has been changed, and where it has been spread in the Gangetic plain. And what is the time period? Let's say from 1500 to 600 BC. That is first 1000 up to 1500 to 1000 BC you can say Rig Veda. From 1000 to 600 BC you can have the later Vedic period, or the early Vedic period was first is early Vedic, then it will be later Vedic. Like that basically you have to understand the broader perspective. So in that way also understand some philosophical concept related to Vedic times. Like when you have studied about Dharma and Rita, they have asked. Important Upanishad has to be studied. Upanishad, right? Like Chandogya Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, right? Mandoka Upanishad, Brihad Upanishad, like that important Upanishad has to be studied, right? Then the meaning of what is Aranyakas, what is Vedangas, the broader perspective has to be studied, followed by basically important other concept like Purusharthas, right? 4 types of ashrama. Here you can have Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, right? Similarly the basic meaning of it. Similarly 4 types of ashramas you should be knowing, right? Like that basically you should have the broader understanding. Then philosophy or the karma philosophy, right? Has to be studied. Like that important philosophy. And then finally the 6 philosophical school. This we will discuss when we are discussing the culture, but this also has to be studied. In this way you have to cover the broader aspect, right? So in that way also see the important sites related. And another important for this, since we have a hymns, it is recorded, right? So that means that many of the names that has been used in the ancient name has changed now. So you should know the rivers were called in what name ancient and what is the modern name. Like that the important ancient name and modern name has to be known. Just have the important places, just make a list out of it and just have a broader understanding, right? So and always see the map so that you have a broader understanding of its geographical extension. So in that way you are supposed to cover Vedic period. Right? Now let's move to Mahajanapadas and see what are the questions that has been appeared. Now two questions has been appeared in civil services from 2011 to 2025, and if you take serious for last 5-6 years, then you will have another two questions, right? So we will just go through it. First, with reference to the ancient India, that is 600 BC to 322 BC, which is a period of Mahajanapadas, consider the following pits, right? First, territorial region and river flowing in the region. Asamaka, Godavari, yes, it is correct. Asamaka is also called as Asaka. It is only the one Mahajanapadas that is south of the Vindhya, but all of them are north of the Vindhya. Only that is south of the India, southern India that you can find is Asamaka, and the river flows through it will be Godavari. Yes, this is correct. Now Cambodia, where Cambodia is basically in the part of Afghanistan, where basically you have, it is well known for its excellent horses, right? So it basically was on the river, let's say Kabul, or now Vipas is basically the river you can find in Punjab region, so which is much eastern part, right? So that is, this is incorrect. Even if you just know Vipas is Jhelum, right? Then if you know that the Cambodia where it is located, so then it will be easy to do that, right? Avanti, again you know that Avanti is located in the Madhya Pradesh in the Ujjain part, right? Now this Mahanadi river, if you know, it flows through Chhattisgarh and Orissa, that is the eastern compared to this. So in that way, this also can be eliminated. Now Kosala, right, whose capital was Ayodhya, and Ayodhya, you know that it is on the banks of the river Sarayu. So that is Kosala and Sarayu is correct. So only two pairs are met. Now the next question, with reference to cultural history of India, the memorizing chronicles, dynastic histories and epic tales was profession of which of the following? Shramana. Shramana is, it is basically against the Brahminism, the other heterodox sect that has been started. They were called as Shramana culture, right? So this is basically not related to memorizing the chronicle of the dynastic history, right? Parivrajaka, ascetic wanderer, right? Again, this is part of Buddhism. We have, this term has been used, and this is also to do with memorizing the chronicles or dynastic histories. Now, agraharakas, right? Now, again, if you cut the word here, agrahara, that is the Brahmin priest. So even if you have seen, Satavahanas where they were giving the lands, right? Devadana for agraharas. So all these are basically related to the Brahmin priest, right? So this is also something not related to memorizing the chronicle or dynastic history or epic tales. Now this was the job of Magadas. Magadha is not just only about Mahajanapada. There is another, the type that, the professions that we call it as Magadas, right? It has to be Magadas and Sutas. These were basically known for ruling. So these are so answer is D, that is Magadha. Now another two question, if you look at it, which one of the following was initially the most powerful city state in India in the 6th century BC was, among the Mahajanapadas, it is Magadhas were the most powerful city state because they were located in one city and that itself has acted as their, the state. It was not a territorial expansion unless it has been started by Magadha over a period of time. Before that, it was only the city state. The Magadha was a powerful kingdom, right? And then which of the following are the capital of Magadha Janapadas? Rajagriha, yes. Champa, no. Champa belongs to Anga. Then Pataliputra, yes. No. Udayin has basically shifted the capital from Rajagriha to Pataliputra. So this is correct. Vaishali, no. Vaishali is basically of Vajji Confederacy, right? The capital of Vajji Confederacy. So 1 and 3. So maybe it should have been 1 and 3, I think, right? So answer is 1 and 3. None of the option are matching here, but it should be 1 and 3, right? So in that way, basically, you have got the question on Mahajanapadas. Now, how do you prepare to it basically? So if you understand it, right, it is, now first thing, understand Mahajanapadas, that there are 16 Mahajanapadas, right? Mahajanapadas. One time period, right, that you have seen that it is from 600 BC, that is post later Vedic period, right, to 600 BC to 322 BC. 322 BC is when the Mauryan kingdom was established. So for that almost for 300 years you can have this, right? So now basically next, within that 16 you study them through maps. Don't just mug it up like Anga. It comes under, the Champa, for Champa, Anga, like that, do not mug it up, right? Or, Avanti, Masya, Vajji, Malla, Chedi, like that. Don't, just remember the names. If you do that, basically, over a period of time, one, you will not be in a position to attend such questions, right? Where you can see the territorial region and river flowing through it. But if you have gone through the maps and see the places, then you will be in a better position. Now if you look at basically, when I have taken the initial classes, I have told you that how to read the maps, right? Now if you look at it, this is the ancient past, right? That is 6th standard, where they are told about important Janapadas, Mahajanapadas and cities. Now you can see here, right? Gandhara, known in Taxila. Taxila is well known for its ancient learning, right? Taxila is a, right? Similarly Panchala, Kosala, right? So similarly Magadha, Anga, Vaishali, where Vajji, right? So Vajji's capital is Vaishali. Like that you will be having the broader idea. Avanti, as I told, the capital was Ujjain, right? So now similarly Kuru, right? So that is Hastinapur. Now once you look at it, they have been also given the important river, or the broader understanding will help you. Even if you have not read the river properly also, then it will still help you to understand it because of the idea about their location, right? Along with that, basically what you are supposed to do, one, knowing about all the Mahajanapadas and their location in the map, right? Visualizing through the map will help you to understand this, right? Then also try to add, see what was their polity structure were like. In the polity, either they were monarchies, that is one king was ruling it, or it was oligarchy or republic, right? Or it also called as Gana Sangha, where there was a tribal chiefs, many were sitting and then deciding. There's not one king he was deciding, or even if the king was there, he was just a representative, but the major decision was taken. So that is basically the oligarchy, right? This can be seen in Vajji and Malla, right? In this way, basically this will help you to understand the different type of polity system was available. Along with that, basically, then over the period of time, rise of Magadha was happened. Now Magadha mein there are different dynasties, Haranyaka dynasties. Within Haranyaka you will have Bimbisara, who was the founder of Magadha Empire, right? A powerful leader, right? Who was contemporary of Gautam Buddha, who was contemporary of Mahavira Jaina, right? Right. Similarly, you then have his son Ajatashatru, right? He is well known, right? During his time, Rajagriha was the capital, that is Bimbisara. Then Ajatashatru, well known for his first Buddhist council. First Buddhist council at his capital, that is Rajagriha, right? So then basically there was Udayin. Udayin was known for basically, moving the capital from Rajagriha to Patali. These you have to know. That is, all of them are Haranyaka dynasty. Then followed by that you will have Shishunaga dynasty. Within that, for you, very important would be Kalashoka, because he presided the second Buddhist council at Vaishali, right? So this is the second one that is important. Then basically there was a Nanda dynasty, right? Nanda dynasty, where you have two important kings. One Mahapadmananda, right? He could establish, the territorial expansion has happened. He killed many of the kings and established it, right? So, and you should know his titles, what for what he has done, because he has also called as Ekarat, that is a single king, right? Which have been for the territorial expansion, right? So, like the titles, the kind of question that has been asked last year, if you look at about Pallavas, knowing the title is also fine with it. Then basically Dhanananda, who was the last king of Nanda dynasty, after that, the Chandragupta Maurya defeated him and got the this thing. And during the term of Dhanananda only, Alexander invaded India. Like that, you should have the broader understanding. One polity, then different kingdoms, that's it. So once you do that, the Mahajanapadas will get over. So don't go about each kingdom in detail, just the very importance of it, right? Very much what is this importance is only one which has been, south in a southern kingdom which was there, having that visual approach will help you to remember the things. And how there was a matrimonial alliances has happened, who was the king, and those things, that detailing is not required, that they are not asking to a great extent. But important kings like Bimbisara, Ajatasashtru, Udayin, Shishunaga, or for that matter Kalasaka, these they have been, the important things have been. So this I have not covered, or the question that is appeared for about them, I have covered them in Jainism and Buddhism chapter. However, you should know that because during the time of Magadha or Mahajanapadas only, the sects are the various heterodox sects, that is Jainism and Buddhism also emerged. And one of the question they were asked, in which of the places that Buddha has gone to, or so that means that Buddha, in the life of Buddha, which places are important, that kind of thing. So where he has been gone for different places, right? So in that way you are in a position to understand Mahajana. But that I have covered under Buddhism and Jainism, since it is related to Buddha, but that also can be considered under the part of Mahajanapadas at the large. So that is why it becomes important due to Jainism and Buddhism also, due to religious changes, right? So, and then the broader understanding why Magadhas were more successful compared to others, what was their strategy, how basically Rajagruha, which has been surrounded by 5 hills, which helped them as their capital, helped them to protect themselves better, and also the fertile Gangetic plain, the availability of, elephants, and in the jungles they could get that timber, how it has helped them to build the great chariots. Like that you should have the broader expand. And then when they moved to basically Pataliputra, that has been moved by Udayin, then what is the strategic significance of it, which has been having the Ganga river, Gandak river, Sun river, like that, it has surrounded by the 3 rivers also, which has been given more advantageous position with respect to the protection. In that way you have to have the broader understanding why it was successful compared to others and what are the reasons. In this way try to cover the Mahajanapadas in detail. It should not take, again as I told you, need not take more than half an hour to 45 minutes, because only important things are required. Alright. So from here we will move now to the the invasion, foreign invasion that has happened through Iran and Greeks, right? So that we are going to study in the next chapter, that is before the Mauryans has happened. This was happening in contemporary with the Mahajanapadas only, but we will study it as a separate theme, right? So the next chapter would be the foreign invasion during the Mahajanapadas period, right? Okay. Now let's move to the next chapter, that is the foreign invasion, pre-Mauryan times, or it is contemporary to the Mahajanapadas, where we have, two major, the invasion that can be seen from, the Iranian kingdoms or Academian kingdoms, and as well as Greek invasion that has happened majorly through the Alexander invasion. So these two topics would have been discussed, and they are going in contemporary with basically the Mahajanapadas. Now this invasion majorly took place at the northwestern part of India, where there was no unity among the kingdom, as well as the kings were weak. That is Cambodia, as well as the Gandhara kingdom were not that strong enough, right? So the invasion could easily taken place. Now if you look at the question, there is only one question, that too it is in CAPF examination, not even in civil services in the last 10 years. But what is the question? Which one of the following dynasty was ruling the North India at the time of Alexander's invasion? It was Nanda dynasty. That is, Dhanananda was the ruler who was ruling the northern India at that point of time. Right. So that is the only one question. Now, if you look at it basically from the chapter wise, what you are supposed to study, right? Two things has to be understood. First, initially it was Iran invasion or Achaemenian invasion, right? Now here, the major kings, you should just know the name, Cyrus, right, Darius I, these you should know, right? Other than that, it is not of much important from the history perspective, but however, from their cultural perspective, it has opened up the trade, and it has opened up the practice of coins, sigloi, the term was used as sigloi. So, with this practice has been further used by other Mahajanapadas where the Panchmark coin has been introduced, right? Along with that, they also helped in, the Aramaic script has been another feature from which basically the Kharoshthi script later has been emerged. This is another important fact that you are supposed to remember. Now, which can be written from right to left, okay, which can be seen even in Ashoka script has been mainly written in Aramaic and Kharoshthi script, and the script was basically has emerged from the Aramaic script, and this Aramaic script was basically used by the Iranian kings. Right now, once the Iranian kings were basically defeated by, once the Greek invasion has happened, Alexander defeated Darius III and then invaded to northwestern India, where again he has defeated, Ambi of Taxila easily. However, he had to have a tough fight with Porus, right, in the battle of Hydaspes. These things you should support to know. Battle of Hydaspes is related to Alexander and Porus, and with looking at the bravery, the way the Porus has fought, even in the mighty the army of Alexander, he has been impressed it, and he gave the kingdom back to him. That is the story that the great Porus that has been fought against, right? So now the question is about only about Battle of Hydaspes or this, or it can be about the consequences. So for both invasion of Iran invasion as well as Greek invasion, the most important thing you have to understand is what is the impact that has happened, right? One, basically it has been opened, right, the political impact after the invasion by Alexander. The Mauryan kingdom learnt basically how to basically have the broader kingdom to fight against the invasion, and the extension of the kingdom has started over a period of time. It helped to, and second, basically both of these invasion helped in trade, right? That is why you can see during the Mahajanapadas, it is also called as the period of second urbanization in India, right? Along with that, it also have impact on culture, right? So now in the culture, again, if you look at it here, you can see Gandhara art, right, with respect to Greeks. Now with respect to the Iran, right, you can see that the pillars which has been constructed are during the time of Ashoka has a similarities, right, though it has its own differentiation, but still it has a similarity with Academy pillar, right? And the palaces of Mauryas were also influenced by Iran palaces. So like that, it is there. Here, the Gandhara art, which has been a Buddhist school of art, where you can have, the Graeco-Roman features to the Buddha has been emerged because of the Indo-Greek invasion. Along with that, the overall impact with respect to history, that is because Aristotle has himself carried historians. So they have recorded the situation in their books basically. So that has helped to, again reconstruct the history. In that way also it has helped to the, reconstructing the history as well. So in this way, the consequences become more important rather than the events. There are the leaders or the kings of them is not really important, but study them from the perspective of what are the major consequences of it. Okay. So from this basically we'll end pre-Mauryan kingdom. Next we are moving to the Mauryan kingdom. This will be covered in the next video, right? Because the size of the video, it was a plan to cover the entire this, but the size of the video is becoming more and more if you have more kingdom and more detailed explanation. So we will move it to the next video and we will start Mauryan kingdom in the next video, right? Till then, understand this, study them well, and make sure that you cover the things in a very holistic manner, right? So see you in the next video, right? And the description of Telegram channel as well as the portal where you have to register to take the upcoming test on the ancient India will be given in the description box, as well as a CSAT channel would have been given. Please join them, right? See you in the next video. Thank you.